Okay, so welcome again and good morning for those who join in a little late. So let's start with the webinar now. So the agenda for today is we want to talk about why agriculture has to be pure, transparent, and ethical. And as we always ask, what's in it for me? So we'll discuss that, and by the end of today's session, you would know why it is very important for all of us and what should we do about this. So as an agenda, we'll first talk about a few stats and we'll show you a few impact of the high chemical usage in farming due to the unethical practices that are being followed today. After knowing this, after knowing that, we'll see what are the solutions and then the techniques for farming that we as Agriparivar are following, and where we got to know about those, what we and how we research on those, and how you can also adapt those solutions to combat this particular challenge that exists today, right? And then we'll talk about how we can support you with all of that, or what we do as an organization, which eventually will help you in uh, changing your relationship with food, leaving, or reducing at least the usage of chemical-based bad food. You'll live a healthier life. You can even have an additional passive income, and the best thing is you can give back to the society in a big way. So that's the idea and objective of today's session. We'll spend around 25 to 30 minutes on these slides, and then we'll open for Q&A. So if you have any questions, please note that down or put that in the chat. We'll take all the questions towards the end of the session. One important disclaimer that I want to share is all the facts and information that we are going to discuss today, none of them is opinion based. All of that is based on either some published research or articles and news from reputed platforms, right? So everything that I'm going to talk about is all data driven, and somebody has done a research and claimed those numbers, etc. So I would first, as I mentioned, we'll talk about the impact that is happening due to all these high chemicals that are used in agriculture. So I'll start from a study that was done by Queen Mary's Hospital in Lucknow. So they identified that the mother milk that the newborn children were drinking had high dosage of pesticides in that milk, because mothers must be taking a lot of vegetables and fruits through which pesticides entered their body, and through the processing it got into the milk. So unfortunately, there were more than 100 infants who were killed due to this within a span of less than a year. As I mentioned, these are based on published studies, so you will also see the references and links at the end of the presentation. Now, there can't be worse than this that can happen due to these unethical practices that are happening, right? This is just one of the worst examples that we identified as a problem that is happening. So what all kind of chemicals are used? We generally have fertilizers that we have to give to plants to grow them on the soil. But when they become completely synthetic and we overdose that becomes very harmful. Beyond that, now pesticides is the major problem, because if you are doing farming in open on soil, there is no way that you can do farming without pesticides. And these pesticides, even though are sold as medicine and safety for the uh, your produce, but it is just poison that is used to kill pests. And once it is sprayed beyond a limit, it gets into the DNA and cells of the vegetables, fruit, and any produce that you consume. And no matter what you do, you can never remove this out of that. So it directly enters the body. Apart from that, due to more demand and lesser availability of production, people also use steroids and hormones in the produce. Now, not everybody does that, but there is data available that you'll see in the next slide, which talks about what percentage of samples contain these kind of things. And then you all must have seen a lot of videos in news, and how colors are added, artificial chemical based colors, to just give fresh look to vegetables and fruits. So, and there are some other chemicals that are used in the agriculture today. So if we look at the reason for it, one is less education of the farmers, because they just follow what everybody else is doing and what they are being told by these companies in terms of usage of pesticides and fertilizers. The other reason is, now if we compare it with our own immunity, right? If you compare the nutrition value of the soil, every year when you are giving fertilizers to your soil and you are repeating the same crop, the fertilizer amount per area has to be increased every year, and that kinds of needs to be done to have at least the same produce that is taken in a particular year. So every year farmers are forced to overuse these fertilizers, and then for pesticides, due to other environmental issues that we have in the country, the pesticides keep on growing and increasing, and people have to then overuse these chemicals. Now, people who do agriculture, and if somebody is in this group, and we have a lot of friends who are large scale farmers, they always tell us that for their own consumption, they grow everything in a separate area where they don't use these fertilizer and pesticides. But for when it has to be sold, it has to look good, the produce has to be more, and that is where everybody is using them. And for these reasons, it is just sometimes get overused. I already mentioned one case study, but the other research that we have done, and we have collated a lot of data, we have seen that there are short-term and long-term diseases that are increasing, and there is direct impact of these chemicals on those. And unfortunately, diseases like cancer, heart attacks, and even mental depression, which you are seeing, these are increasing exponentially. So these are the harmful effects of these chemicals. Short-term effects you can still work with, but once you get into these kind of issues, how difficult it becomes for you, for the family, for your well-wishers, both from the emotional and economical challenges that occur. So just with some proactive measures, we can try and reduce these challenges, and that's, as I'll talk about in some time, is our mission to do. The other challenge is, I don't know how many of you have observed and noticed these kind of news and articles, that a lot of land is turning barren, right? Just because of this overuse of fertilizers. You keep on increasing them, but there will come a stage when the land, the soil becomes completely useless, and becomes kind of a sand and barren land. Look at the data if you get time on, for example, the Punjab state land, and with what percentage this is getting increased. Now it has double impact, because you'll have ripple effect. If the land keeps on reducing, the agricultural land, you need to produce the same amount of you have to harvest the same amount of produce from that particular land, which is lesser. So you will further keep on adding more fertilizers and chemicals to grow more, and that again comes back as a feedback, turning more land barren. So this is an endless loop, a catch-22 situation, which is making things worse. Excuse me. So here are some more news and articles. I have taken some from, even 10 years ago, because these are not newer things. The only thing is we are now getting more educated due to media, and with more population, with more demand, things are even getting worse on that side. So you can see, there is a direct link on cancer. There is these are articles from both Indian and international media, reputed media. When we think that we are importing some food and we are buying it from, let's say, good stores, we are paying more, even that's not free from these chemicals. So it does not mean that you're spending more money to eat healthy. That's another challenge that we have. Excuse me. Then this is a reputed journal from National Library of Medicine, which has claimed a lot of data, and based on a lot of longitudinal study, that there is a impact on cancer due to these pesticides. Harvard has published this report which talks about heart diseases connected to pesticides that we intake through the food that we consume. So this kind of give us a lot of foundation, and we know that there are these issues, and we are consuming this food leading to these diseases, so on and so forth. And as long as it happens to somebody else outside our network, it simply looks like a news to us. But for those who witness this in their close network, within their families, then we realize that yes, there is a major issue, and it is really happening. So we should not be careless and ignorant of the fact, and we should be very proactive. So where is it all going, right? This is coming to our kitchen and our plates, because if somebody is growing, it is being grown for those people largely who live in cities, and buy uh, all these foods because they cannot grow their own. And if you now start observing and look around on these diseases, you'll definitely find more cases once you start observing consciously. Now, this is a very dangerous data point that we found out in a report, that 70% of the samples taken in that study from multiple locations in multiple cities were highly contaminated with pesticides and chemicals. Now, if I translate this number to a naive consumer, if you are buying vegetables and fruits from, let's say, grocery stores or mandis or wherever you buy it from, 7 out of 10 times you will be buying contaminated food, and that's what you are eating. We all are eating, right? This is something which is very, very scary. And all these samples were taken from a regular diet, including fruits, vegetables, pulses, and other things like dairy, honey. And this is a trend on all of these kind of food that we eat. Now we think that we can, peel at least the vegetables and fruits. We can wash them well. We can wash them with different things like baking soda. Those are really good practices to remove any external uh, impurities. But when we talk about these chemicals, as I mentioned in the beginning, they are in every cell of what you are eating. So no matter what you do, you cannot remove them once they enter during their agriculture harvesting. So that kind of tells us that we have to care about this a lot, because we are buying it and then we are consuming it day in and day out. And the more we think we are eating healthy, unfortunately, that may not be the case. So what's the solution? That should be the most obvious question that we have to ask. So there are a lot of countries who have already, started working on it long ago, and there are successful stories of countries who have done research, practice, and transformed the way they are farming today. So we as a company, and as you know more about us through our website and other information that we are sharing, we have been working on it for a few years now. When we witnessed what is going on, so on and so forth. So we tried our hands on, in India, what is happening. We tried researching, we learned from different sources. Then we felt that there are more opportunities to learn about this. So we have in our team the skills and trainings that we have obtained in the US, in Germany, and online we are connected with a lot of farmers and scientists and people who are doing something about these things. So our objective is to, uh, enhance what we are already doing as a country, and bring in a lot of more skills, technology, tools, etc., to enhance it further, not only to just improve the produce, but also to completely eliminate the chemicals and make it so common and abundant that people don't have to use any unethical practices. And towards the end, as you will see, everybody can grow this. Everybody should grow this, and right, that's what our dream is, and that's what our vision is. So I'll talk about three primary techniques, which some of you would have already come across at some point in time, or if it is completely new to you, I'm sure this will open some new, avenues of knowledge for you, and you can explore these further. So first is hydroponic, which is as old as being practiced from 1930s and 40s. But with time, with more technology, it is at a very advanced stage now. So what we do in hydroponic is we completely eliminate the usage of soil, and everything is grown on either water most of the times, or some substitute of the soil. But all of this is done in a controlled environment, right? So uh, the best part about hydroponic is that you can do this in a large scale farm. You can do it in thousands of acres, or you can do this in your living room as well, at least for your own consumption. It looks very beautiful. There is no major labor work that you have to do in the soil based farming. And this is where we want to encourage everyone that you should learn, focus to do this at your home as well. So once we control the environment, which means this can be done indoors, or this can be done through, with poly houses kind of things as well. Um, you will not have any exposure of any kind of diseases for your produce, because you are not doing anything in soil. You can control everything, which is the environment, from the nutrition to water to the air. So no need to use pesticides, and what you put as a nutrition is also very flexible. Even though this is 100 times better than what you use as fertilizers in soil, but if you want to make it 100% organic, even you can do that. And we'll have a separate webinar on organic food, because there are so many misconceptions, so on and so forth. But at a high level, on a surface level, you can make it 100% organic. And even if you don't do that, if you use some basic nutrition, that is very healthy in compared to when you consume any produce from the soil. And these are all based on studies that are published. Then we have aquaponic. It is a very nice ecosystem where you eliminate any need of artificial nutrition. So this is just an enhanced hydroponic technique where you have fishes and plants helping each other to grow. So this aquaponic technique is 100% organic. You don't use even 1% of chemical, pesticide, or anything in this particular way of growing vegetables and fruits. Then you have aeroponic. Now, anything that grows under the soil, right, like radish and carrots and potatoes, etc., these are grown through aeroponic. So think of it as a room. The plant is outside the room on the roof, and all your roots and the vegetables are hanging, and we provide the nutrition and water uh, uh, inside that room, right? In terms of vapors, etc. So it is when we compare it with hydroponic and aquaponic, it would need a little more um, kind of um, infrastructure complexity, because you have to build this particular space and then dedicate this for growing what you want to grow through aeroponic. But for hydroponic and aquaponic, you can do it anywhere. As I mentioned, you can do it in your living room as well, or your balconies. And if you have land, that, nothing like that, you can then do it at a larger scale as well. So now we understand that there are major issues. We see the impact. We also know that there are solutions that are available. Now, as an individual, what can you do so that you are not impacted by these negative things? So first, get more educated on all of what we just mentioned. Understand how farming is done, what are the intricacies, and be a little more conscious on what you are eating. You should look for buying things from reliable sources. And unfortunately, if you think that larger brands are reliable, then I would invite you to do some Google search and see published articles on how some tests are done on the produce of the large organizations and what kind of status they are in. Then you can, the best solution is start growing yourself. Now, I can't stop talking about the benefits that you'll get out of this. If you look at health benefits, I'm sure you'll be able to connect the dots now. Then you have financial benefits. Then you have even spiritual benefits, and relationships are also improved because of doing this. Because if we go back to our Vedas, people who are a little comfortable with that information, that there are different muhurats and kals in a day. So in Vedas we have our Sayam Kal, which is in the evening, and it is said and written there that if you work with plants during that time particularly, right, you get a lot of emotional stability and your relationships get better. And this is all again tested and done through research, scientifically also proven. So you have like a lot of benefits of doing this. And if you have done this in the past, you know how happy you feel when you are working with plants, etc. Right? So if I now know that I can be more conscious, I should know more, should buy things from reliable sources, eat what makes sense to me based on my research, and I can there is an opportunity now to even grow it myself, because now I don't need a piece of land. If I'm living on a 10th floor in an apartment in a metro city, I know I can do this in my house as well. Can I replace everything that I'm consuming? Absolutely not. But I can reduce what I buy from the market, and specifically things which I eat raw and I use very commonly, like tomatoes and salad and green leafy vegetables, so on and so forth. So the next question is, then how can I do it, right? How to do this? What all we just saw. So there you need to get trained first of all. There are a lot of options available. Once you start researching, once you get more educated, then find the right partner who can train you. Only training online or just one program or so might not make you self-sufficient. So always look at your partners who can then continue to support you and help you with setting up and hand holding for the whole process. Because people who are not familiar with farming, it may be a good learning journey. So in the initial phases, you will need a lot of help and support. Then experiment. That's the most beautiful part of all of this. That you can experiment with a lot of things. Learn a lot of things. You will see patiently. How small, excuse me, small efforts and changes that you're making to the whole system. Completely change the outcome. Then start grow continuously, which is giving you consistent harvest, and you consume that. Once you get comfortable with this in some time, and you feel good about this, you may even scale this to get a more larger impact with a passive income that you can have. And as I mentioned, now you will understand the statement that I made in the beginning, how you can contribute and give back to the society at a large scale. So as Agriparivar, as I mentioned, our objective is to continue doing what we are doing for our own close network. But that is a very small thing that we can do, right? If we want to do this at a large scale, we can't do this alone with our own resources, time, and team. So we would need help from everybody like you, all the people who want to do this or can do this for your own usage, and all the farmers that are doing this at a large scale. So we need to join hands, and we need to change the way agriculture is being done. So we have training programs for everything that we spoke about. Every month we run these trainings in a very practical and convenient manner. We invite participants to our farm in Himachal, which of course is optional if you are too far and there are constraints. Of course, you cannot travel. But if you can, we invite you here. That gives us more opportunities to do hands-on and see how things are done, and have discussions on the ground. Once you get trained from us, for lifetime, we give you, help and support over calls, over video calls, etc. for, small setups. If you want to do this at a large scale, we also provide consulting for the same. Very soon, we are going to partner with people who are, doing this at scale, so that we can then reach out more households where we can give you healthy fruits and vegetables, etc. Excuse me. So to know more about that, I would invite you to look at our website, agriparivar.com, and you will get a lot of information there. So I just wanted to share some pictures from our farm, and everything that you would see are from this season, and all of this is completely soilless in a controlled environment. Right, so just some random pictures. So this is our saffron for this year. We have already started harvesting. I'm sure Ankit will share some more pictures with you of the journey of this. And one important point that I would like to highlight is saffron is generally harvested in the month of, let's say, late October and in November. This is the only time when we harvest saffron in India. So this training, which is going to happen in November, is the most impactful and interesting and important training of the year. So if you plan to learn about this, I would highly encourage that you enroll for this November training, at least for the saffron. Rest, all the trainings can be done at any point in time. Excuse me. So we are doing a lot of technology-driven farming. So this is one of the snapshots for building our AI models, which you'll know more. We'll have a separate webinar on technology and AI that we are using. We are not just making it gimmick, but it is actually implemented for improving things. This is one basil plant. Now you will not see this kind of quality on soil, and this grows 3 to 4 times faster on hydroponic. Right. So in soil, you can harvest, let's say, 3 crops in a year. On hydroponic, you can go up to 10 cycles of harvesting, which exponentially grows your output. This is our farm, and we are setting up trays with comms. Excuse me. These are just some of the pictures in our trainings, and when you visit, you'll see a lot more. These are some of the references where I directly picked some of these studies that I shared the numbers with you from. So that's what I wanted to share from the presentation. And as I mentioned, as we can't do this alone, we would need you to join us in fighting the good fight to make the agriculture pure, transparent, and ethical. So now we'll open the forum for Q&A. So if you have any questions, please put them on chat, and then we'll take them one by one. So the first question is, I'm not able to see who has written this question, but the question is this related to organic farming? So as I mentioned to you, that organic farming is a very interesting and misunderstood concept. So for those, if you're asking about this, I would assume that you understand nitties and gritties of organic farming. So when we looked at hydroponic, or let me say this, when somebody claims that they are doing organic farming on soil, it needs at least 3 to 4 years to make your soil organic, right? That gives us a lot of doubt on those claims when people say that we are doing organic farming and they are giving you very nice looking produce. When we talk about hydroponic can be 100% organic, and you just need a month to set up everything that you want, and it'll be only organic farming right away. But when you do aquaponic is by design 100% organic, because you cannot use fertilizers or chemicals, otherwise fishes will die. So fishes will support your plant growth, and plants will give oxygen for the fishes. So that's the best ecosystem for 100% organic food. It has lesser produce than hydroponic, but as I mentioned, both can be organic. Where can I learn from about the services that you provided related to sustainable agriculture? So you must visit our website, which is agriparivar.com. You will see the next month or next couple of months details, where you have the training, we have the curriculum. So if you are completely new to farming, that would be a very good training for you guys, because we start from scratch talking about, for example, plant physiology and what is horticulture and how things grow, etc. So you can visit the website. We'll also share through email about the trainings that we are planning immediately in the next months. So that's the place which you can refer to for understanding about these trainings, and you can learn from there. How to get registered for trainings? Which trainings you recommend I take first? So if you are interested in these trainings, I would recommend that you do saffron training for sure, which is happening next month on uh, two consecutive Saturdays, right? Which is 16th and 23rd of November. Because this is the only time of the year when you will see the harvesting happening. Of course, in the other months, we show you videos and we show you how this is done, but you can get first-hand experience live on harvesting. So you can definitely do this. It will not only teach you about saffron, but overall how hydroponic, aeroponic, etc. work. Then you should definitely do hydroponic training, because that's where you can grow it yourself. For those who are interested in learning both, that becomes a a good combination, and you will also get a lot of economic or cost benefit if you do multiple trainings. But as a beginning, you should take one or two trainings, one in saffron, one in hydroponic, and then you can go from there.
I think that's it. That's it for the questions.
Okay, thank you. So uh, that's what I wanted to discuss, and thank you very much for listening to me. Now I would request Rishi and Ankit to share their thoughts, and if they want to contribute something and help you guys.
So much, sir, for such a brilliant webinar about telling us about so much from where in our everyday meal, what kind of problems we are facing. And it gives me immense knowledge or interest into the fact that the food that we're consuming is not something that is actually not adulterated at any level. So that should make us ponder to the fact that even though we have been relying on such big brands for the solutions that we're looking for, it does not mean that that is going to solve the problem. So we have to fight the good fight, and in order to do that, we have to get uh, into the arena, I would say. And I think to get into the arena, the best part, as you mentioned, was that we have to learn how these techniques need to be brought in, because these are some age-old, tried and tested techniques, which are not something that cannot be fooled around. So it is something that we have to look for.
Yeah, plus one to what Ankit just said. The time is right where we pay a lot of attention to where the food is coming from, because it's just not impacting us. It's going to impact coming generations, and we owe it to our children, our society, on being very, very conscious about how we grow it. And this problem is very, very solvable, and that's where what we are here to help you with. So yeah, keep fighting the fight, and be involved with us in shaping up our future. Having said that, so I think we have come to the close of this webinar. Find us, reach out to us at agriparivar.com. We have all the social handles in our website, on our website. Write to us, connect with us, make us part of your circle. We are here to help. We are here to serve. Um, thank you all. Thank you all for joining today.
Thank you very much, Rishi and Ankit. And thanks everyone again for joining in. I wish you a lot of health and success with this, and hope to see you guys again in other webinars or the trainings. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Bye.